to the first podcast at Earlham College, Untold Sports Stories with Gerardo Byrne. I am here with former football teammate of mine, Malcolm Jones. Pleasure having you on the show, my man.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. So what we're going to start off with is I'm a senior, you're a sophomore. Most things not in common. But one thing that is in common is compared from last year to this year. Is last year about this time, we were getting ready to start off our football season. This year, we're not. So if you want to explain why we're not playing football right now.
Well, basically, our program was taken away from us. When I was recruited here last year, I was under the impression that, I came to a team that I already knew was 0-40, and I was trying to make a difference, And I feel like that's what, we were all trying to do when we were recruited here. We were trying to, come change the culture. So, with that being said, we finished the year 0-10, and basically was about 2 weeks after. We were all called into a meeting and just basically said the football team is suspended for health reasons. We were all really confused and didn't know what what's to become of it, and we just people made decisions to leave and stuff like that. All power to them, but a certain set of circumstances I decided to stay. So with that being said, I don't really.
So we were starting to get informed, the last couple of weeks of season that, they were starting to actually discuss this. But when you got recruited...
Oh, you heard?
Huh?
You heard about it?
Coach, I think it was Coach Morey or something, said that he had spoke to Julie, and that they had said that it's possible that they were more leaning towards just firing Coach J, but...
Okay.
It was a small discussion about possibly canceling the program. Now, but none of us ever thought it was actually going to reach that level.
Yeah, I definitely heard, fire rumors.
Yeah.
Not even about Coach J, even about, other people we had on the staff.
Mm-hmm.
But, I never knew it was so, drastic that we had, to cut the whole program.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I kind of wish is that, yeah, we knew the history of the program before we came here, but I feel like, a discussion to shut this program down for a year didn't just approach during our season. I feel like it was, discussed before the season.
Absolutely. I feel like it was even discussed, before I even came here.
Exactly.
Something that big, cutting the whole program, you're talking about kids that come here, it's their last chance playing football. It's a D3 at the end of the day. We might not have, the most talent, the most, there's not the most money, not the most of that, but we all love the game of football. And taking that away from a whole team, that's a really big decision. I feel like, it definitely talked about at least a year before.
Exactly. And I don't know if the coaches knew about that, but I wish that option was told to us, to the players who were getting recruited, that, if this year doesn't go the way we would like it to go, it could be a possibility that it's canceled for however many years. They're saying it's a year, we don't know if it'll be back next year. And so I feel like that should have been an option told to the players, the new players coming in case if they want, decide to go to some other school.
But even if that wasn't the case, how would you take that as a recruit, right?
Yeah.
You'd be like, well, this team, they haven't won a game for 4 years, and they're talking about that the program might not, exist if we don't win a game this year. That's a lot of pressure, and I don't feel like, you can recruit a lot of kids that way. And, I don't know how many did we bring in last year from my class, 18,
Yeah,
20?
it was a nice number.
Yeah, it was a decent number, but, that's a really young team when you'll have, a 40, 30-man roster.
Exactly.
So.
And speaking of that, that was a reason we were told why it was shut down, because of safety concerns of us only having around 40 guys, and then teams we would play against have between 90 to 100 players on the other sideline.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm in agreement with some of the guys I talked to that we signed up for this. We knew what we were kind of getting ourselves into.
Yeah. And they also said, it was a health concern. People were playing out of position. I don't know one person that, wasn't playing a position that they wanted to play.
Exactly.
For the most part. So it's just stuff like that and, gray areas that players didn't know about, which kind of, makes everything seem like fishy,
Yeah. And you come from Detroit, correct? Yeah. And you went to what high school?
UD Jesuit.
UFD Jesuit?
Yeah, University of Detroit Jesuit.
And is that a prep school?
Yeah, it's a college preparatory school.
College preparatory school. And you guys were you guys successful in football?
I'd like to think so. My 3 years on varsity, I played 1 year freshman, 3 years on varsity. We made it to the playoffs twice. Um, Lost in the first round, but one team, that really talented King team, they won the Wednesday championships that year. Then we had a close game. That was my sophomore year, and my junior year against a really talented Oak Park team, and then that kind of derailed my high school campaign. So I didn't win the state championship in that, but I also ran track. I wrestled for a year. So yeah.
So coming out of high school, was Earlham the only school you were considering going to school at?
No. So I had a host of D2 and D3 offers, but I chose Earlham because I know that I wanted to focus on academics, and that was a really big thing for me. And I know that I just felt that Earlham was going to provide that I could play sport that I love, and I could also get my education, and both are valued at a really high level. So that's why I chose Earlham.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, because just like you had already stated, you knew the history of Earlham before you chose to attend it. And my next question was going to be, what other aspects of the school did you like? I know every new player comes in, with the mindset we like to turn the program around, but obviously it takes more than just one person.
Yeah, I was really confident in the person who recruited me, and I was really confident, and I believe in Coach Jay, and I still do. But it just came down to the fact that I feel like it was a young team, and with that pressure being added on us, not knowing that our program was going to be cut, but all that pressure the coaches put on us, the schools put on us, that it just.
Yeah, and in agreement with you, we definitely felt the pressure, and going 40 before we got here.
40, yeah.
0-40 before we got here.
Or 41, something like that.
It was something around those numbers, and then we get here, and then we go 0-10. So I think a lot of people, when you look at it from the outside, you think 0-40, how is that possible? And now that you had a season in the program, and going through each day and each game, what would you say a big problem in the program was for it to have such a long losing record?
I'd say commitment and culture. Definitely, there are some people on the team that took football and what they're doing a little bit more seriously than others, and I feel like that happens on every team. But again, when you have a 30-40 man roster, and you have 10, 15 players doing that, it's kind of difficult to get anything accomplished. So. And
for people who don't know, that our senior class consisted of 3 players. But then when you speak to those 3 players, when they came in as freshmen, they came in with about 20 freshmen, just kind of like how we did. So it goes back to that commitment. You were saying you started off with 20 freshmen, but now 3 finished their college careers at the school. And I think, if you get 10 to 15 to stay per year, the numbers build back up.
Yeah.
But a lot of kids nowadays, we go 0-10, and I understand how tough that is, because we heard a lot of scrutiny for it. But a lot of kids who are used to winning leave to go for football, and they don't stay and try to commit to another year, commit to a few years. That why not stay until we get that first win? And who knows? You get that first win, that adds a lot of excitement to who knows what happens in the future.
Right, and that was a really big reason me coming here. I felt like this first win would feel so good to be winning anywhere else that a team that already had wins. There's gonna be parties, the campus is gonna set on fire, and all these things were supposed to happen, and it just didn't happen. So just that, feeling that goal being taken away from me, you, and everyone else who's still here is it really sucks.
Yeah, and did you feel, talking about, the first win, the whole campus or the city would go crazy, but while we were losing, did you feel like we had support from the other sports or the other students on campus?
No. But I understand it's hard to support a team that's struggling, and who wants to go to a game or team to get blown out. But at the same time, I don't really feel like Earlham's culture is focused towards sports, and that comes with the territory of the college. But that's a whole other discussion. I was like,
Understanding, yeah. When I would just talk to other athletes, football was the brunt of a lot of other teams' jokes.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I've always told people that unless you were put into that situation, I mean, you don't know what that feels like. I mean, nobody likes to lose.
Yeah.
And especially the way we were losing, I give props to the players who did commit to the full season, still offense being out there 5:30 a.m. practices,
Yeah.
4 times a week. You're still getting up, still getting after it, still working hard. Just the results weren't coming up.
Yeah, and that's a real big stigma that people have that, 0-10 team doesn't work hard. No, we work just as hard, maybe even harder. It's just that, some things don't go your way. Some calls might not go your way, some, plays might not go your way, but we work just as hard as everybody else.
Exactly, and just at the end of the day, one team had 50 more players than we did, and our team just, you said it right, it wouldn't go our way. But we still worked hard. I still to this day, I have respect for all the coaches that coached us. Although Coach Johnson and Coach Lee are the only 2 coaches I've seen since that day.
Mm-hmm.
We were told football was canceled. It was actually when I walked into the Athletic Wellness Center. I had seen Southall at the first floor, and he was pissed. He was storming out. I heard him tell Colin that they were shutting it down. So when I was going into the room, I kind of knew what was coming, but it was still, a shock to hear it. Because, again, that was my first year at the school.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was here to play football for 2 years. And then as a junior, I can't really transfer.
Right.
I'm worried about graduating.
Doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. But you're a freshman. So, in a lot of our freshman class.
Sophomore now.
Well, you were a freshman at the time. You are a sophomore. So a lot of the freshmen at the time had already branched out. Some left at the end of that semester.
Mm-hmm.
Others came back for that second semester and then left after. Why did you choose to come back knowing you still have 3 years of eligibility left and you could possibly go to another school and expose your talents?
So, the idea of leaving definitely crossed my mind. When something like that happened, your first idea, like, get out of there. Like, what? And, I talked to other colleges and stuff like that, but, say that with my family and, other opportunities that the college gave me, like, I'm a Bonner scholar now. And other opportunities like that rising made me want to stay. And it was like, maybe I can, live without football for a little while, if that's the case, because they're only suspending the program. I'm expecting to come back my junior year, maybe. So maybe I can sit out that year and really hit the books hard, because, I already said earlier, I'm really focused on academics. So
Exactly.
I can sit out a year and then, pick up that GPA and have a great junior and senior year, stay in shape, keep running track, that sort of thing.
Explain exactly what the Bonner program is.
So it's a scholarship-based, it's a volunteer-based scholarship. So basically what I do is I volunteer at the local Boys and Girls Club, and I hang out with the kids, help with homework, socialize, and just kind of be like, a big brother. And I really enjoy that aspect of service and giving back to the community.
Has being around the kids, seeing their situations, made your college experience so far a lot more enjoyable than just what happened in the football world?
Absolutely, because it's something else I can look forward to at the end of the day. Having the scholarship is really what influenced me to stay. I can enjoy the aspects of my life, which give me back to others in service. So yeah.
Okay, so then come back second semester of your freshman year and you decide to do track.
Yeah, I ran track in high school. I was okay. Was average.
What events did you do?
So I was a hurdler actually, and I was also on the 4x2 team. That 4x2 team was actually really good. All 4 of us are playing college sports now, so it was kind of cool. And it's a very good guys that I call my best friends to this day.
Okay.
But we were all league for that, and we always went to states. But I think we were 4th out of the top 3 to go to states, so we were pretty close. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, based on my experience, Detroit's got some athletes.
Oh yeah,
Detroit is full of athletes.
No, the whole state of Michigan's full of athletes.
Yeah.
We're definitely slept on.
That is a true statement. What was your experience in track like coming from a winning track team to? I'm not saying you guys didn't win, but you guys didn't win league or something. But you guys did finish a lot better than in past years at the school. So what was track experience in college like compared to high school?
It's definitely different. You know, in high school you have your set schedule and you have your routine that you're in every day, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You go to school at 8 a.m. You practice right after school, then you go home. Like there's no. But coming to college and being on your own, your own schedule, kind of, having to adjust to eating on your own, just getting your own study time in. It's definitely an adjustment, but I feel like overall it wasn't too big of a drop off. Honestly, we trained really hard for track too, in high school and in college. I just running's hard. It's a difficult thing to do, especially running in circles. So yeah, I don't feel like there was too much of a drop off of me in college and me in high school track.
Me personally, I respect track athletes because I hate to run.
Yeah.
I'm one of those guys that I run when I have to rather than want to. So.
And I'm the same way. That's a really big misconception about track athletes, is that we like to run. No, not all of us like to run. Yeah, I'm not one of those people.
So you go through track, you finish your freshman year, you're back as a sophomore. But freshman year you go and play 2 sports, but this year you decided that you're not doing track. So now you go from a dual sport athlete to a sophomore year where you're not involved in a sport at the school.
Yeah, and when we talk about that,
Yeah.
I'm not running track. Oh yeah, so I'm not running track because there was a coaching change in like the middle of the summer towards the end of the summer, and me already having a program cut for me, I didn't feel like getting adjusted to a new set of coaches and everything like that, especially when I don't know the future of me here. So with that being said, I just felt like it was the best decision for me to step away from track and just focus on my academics for now.
Talked about not wanting to adjust to a new set of coaches. I want to get your opinion. What do you think about football getting canceled, and then I don't know the specific number on how many sports have new coaches, but I know it's a lot, about how the Earlham athletic department has gone through this just major change in the year that we've been here.
I feel like it's positive. I mean, I feel like anytime you're making a change of any sort in a program, you're definitely trying to move in the right direction. I don't think, we're trying to, sabotage other sports. I feel like, deciding to go on with, I think it was 18 or something like that, new coaches, is, Earlham trying to, direct their sports in a new way, and I respect that.
Okay. So, playing sports as a kid.
Yeah.
Coming from Detroit, and to a lot of people outside of Detroit, when you hear Detroit, you think of more ghetto and stuff like that. Talk about how sports influenced you growing up as a kid.
I mean, without sports, I don't know where I'd be. It's, for me, it's not as drastic as, gang violence and stuff like that, but sports definitely shaped who I am today. And I definitely don't know, where my head would be at if I didn't, have, those tough football coaches on me, those tough track coaches on me. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely, sports has been a positive impact on my life.
Okay.
And it's sad that, it's taken away.
Yeah, and I will say last year I definitely learned the phrase that, you hear every coach say, play every snap like it's your last. And, most times you talk about that to injury, but you truly never know when your last snap of football is. I know the last snap of the season, I didn't think that'd be my last snap of football. About what other sports did you play as a kid besides football and track?
Baseball, I did that for a year. I wrestled in middle school, as I said. Basketball, that was big, but kind of aggressive for basketball. I'm not too good at it. Actually, I'm alright, right? I'm decent.
Alright, yeah.
Alright, appreciate it.
Gotcha. So talk about how playing multiple sports as a kid helps rather than, focusing on one sport growing up.
It's as simple as just getting different muscle groups involved. I mean, the more things you do and the more, time you spend working at a craft, the better you're going to get at it. And I feel like no matter what sport you're playing, it can lead into, a development of skill in another sport. So, people talk about, track leads in football because, you have conditioning, running, you're getting faster. but also, you can work with, football and baseball. You work on hand-eye coordination, hitting the ball, catching it, stuff like that. So I feel like playing multiple sports when you're younger is definitely, critical if you plan on trying to play at a college level.
Okay. And no, we don't have football here, but you still said it yourself. You're gonna continue to work out and stay in shape and all that kind of stuff. Do you have aspirations of maybe playing, pro ball one day?
No, I mean, I've always said I was good enough. I'll let it happen. But my goal is to, play as long as I can, enjoy it, and if I can play for my tuition, great. But pro ball was never really like a really set goal for me.
So it sounds like you come from a household where academics was number one.
Yeah, mom has 3 degrees, so there's a lot of pressure with that.
I definitely know the feeling. My parents were definitely on me at academics. It was no sports unless homework was done, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So what is your major here at the school?
I'm a global management major with a focus on leadership and change.
Okay, and once you get your degree, where do you want to take that? What do you see yourself doing in the future?
I mean, honestly, where God takes me. I mean, I feel like I have a really, service is a really big part of me, so I feel like I'm gonna want to serve others. So, if that takes me, up the street to Dayton, or if it takes me across the world to, Beijing or something like that, that's where I'll go. I'll just, go where I, feel called to go.
All right. You know what, Malcolm? I think we covered everything we need to cover. I appreciate you coming on the show for me, and we look forward to having you again. This is Untold Sports Stories with Gerardo Byrne. Appreciate you all joining in, and we will be back soon with another guest.